Welcome to Naruto Azure Awakening, an original fanfiction by God with Wings. Chapter 1, The New Beginning. What's this feeling? Why does it hurt so much? No matter how many times he tried to open his eyes, his body refused to cooperate. Every nerve felt like it was on fire, his head pounded with a searing pain, and an unrelenting, high-pitched and unnatural sound scratched at his ears. What is that sound? It was like thousands of mosquitoes buzzing right next to his brain. It was too loud to ignore, too alien to comprehend. Time blurred. He had no idea how long he'd been stuck in this torment. He wasn't even sure if he was lying down. There was only the pain and that awful noise. Finally, like a dam breaking, the agony began to go away. His thoughts, clouded and scattered, started to pull themselves together. But clarity didn't bring relief. It brought something much worse: confusion. An empty void where his identity should have been. Wait, what's my name? Who am I? Panic settled in his chest. Before he could even try to analyze his situation, another wave of pain slammed into him, fiercer than before. This time, though, it carried something. A flood of memories. Kaoru. His name was Kaoru Takime. He was 7 years old, and somehow, inexplicably, he was in the world of Naruto. What the actual... I remember watching Naruto series. I remember Sasuke and Naruto's fight, the Hokage stuff, all of it. But this can't be my life. So why can't I remember anything else? As the pain subsided, his body finally obeyed him. His eyes opened, blinking against the faint light. He was in a small, tidy room. It was simple but comfortably furnished. Everything looked familiar. Too familiar. He checked his memories, the scenes and feelings pouring in with a force that left him breathless. But they weren't his. They felt alien. They belonged to Kaoru, the real Kaoru, the boy whose body he now occupied. A chill ran down his spine as guilt and fear coiled in his gut. Did I steal his life? Did I kill him? The thought twisted his stomach, but he shoved it aside. Now wasn't the time to think about that. He needed to figure out what was happening. He tried scanning his memories once again, but while Kaoru's memories were vivid, his own past remained a blank slate, with watching the Naruto series being the only memento. Nothing came back. No name. No identity. Just a vague, formless sense of being. Great. So I'm basically a nobody pretending to be a 7-year-old in a world that I've seen as a viewer. But he couldn't afford to dwell on that. Right now, his only option was to play along, to act natural. If he slipped up, people would notice. His family might get suspicious. And if that happened, well, his gut told him it wouldn't end well. Especially not with her, Kaoru's sister. If she caught even a hint of something being off, she'd absolutely lose it. Kaoru glanced out the window, catching the soft glow of the rising sun. The peacefulness felt almost absurd after the chaos he'd just endured. He exhaled sharply, his focus sharpening to a single thought: finding a mirror. He had to see his reflection. If the memories crowding his mind were accurate, a huge surprise awaited him. As he climbed down the bed and his feet touched the cool floor, he took a moment to glance around. The room's furniture was well made, polished, and sturdy. It felt like a small but significant clue to the kind of family Kaoru had been born into, or rather, inherited. His steps were clumsy at first, his body sluggish and uncooperative, still suffering from the pain he'd experienced earlier. Every movement felt slightly alien, as though he hadn't quite settled into his new skin, but he pushed forward, his determination outweighing his discomfort. After fumbling around the room, he finally found the mirror. It was mounted on a tall dresser, its surface gleaming. Taking a steadying breath, Kaoru leaned in and froze as his reflection came into view. Staring back at him was a boy with dark blue hair, slicked back in a neat style. His face was youthful, round with baby fat, yet undeniably handsome. Even at 7 years old, there was an air of charisma in his features. But it wasn't the hair or the face that captivated him. It was the eyes. Kaoru's gaze locked onto the striking cyan irises, vibrant and unnaturally vivid. Inherited from the memories of his new life, He knew they were tied to his clan's Kekkei Genkai, a rare bloodline ability that supposedly granted unparalleled mastery over water. The thought alone was exhilarating, but what made his heart race was the glow. When activated, the Kekkei Genkai caused his eyes to shine like radiant gemstones. Curiosity burned inside him. He had to test it. Closing his eyes, Kaoru focused on the memories, searching for the sensation that would trigger the ability. It took a moment. His mind still felt sluggish, but eventually, he found it. A subtle pull, like water rushing through unseen channels. His eyes opened, and the mirror revealed the transformation. The cyan glow pulsed softly, and Kaoru's breath hitched. He could see it now, the flow of water in the room around him. It was as though a hidden layer of reality had been peeled back. He marveled at the delicate streams coursing through the plant by the window, and even the water particles in the air. He was like a child who just got his new toy. But then he noticed something strange. Wait, why can't I see the water in me? He stared at his hand, puzzled, but the answer didn't come. Instead, a more pressing problem reared its head, his chakra. Kaoru could feel it draining rapidly, like a leaky bucket spilling its contents. The strain became unbearable after only a few minutes. Gritting his teeth, he deactivated the Kekkei Genkai, and the glow in his eyes flickered out. The headache hit immediately, sharp and punishing. Kaoru stumbled back, clutching his temples. Shit, I got too excited. I need to pace myself. As the pain subsided, he leaned against the dresser, taking slow, measured breaths. This power was incredible, but it was also dangerous. His chakra reserves were laughably small, and overusing the Kekkei Genkai could leave him vulnerable, or worse. For now, Kaoru knew he had to prioritize two things: survival and strength. If he was stuck in this world, in this body, there was no room for weakness. The Naruto universe wasn't forgiving to those who couldn't defend themselves. All right, first things first. Plan, train, survive. His reflection stared back at him, cyan eyes now dim but determined. This was a world where might made right, and unless he wanted to live in constant fear, he needed to build enough strength to ensure that picking a fight with him would be more trouble than it was worth. He returned to the bed and sat down, letting out a small sigh as he began analyzing his situation. Not only do I have no idea how to return to my original body, but I don't even know if I can. Did I die? Who was I before this? Nothing makes sense. For now, I have to assume I'm stuck here. There's no point in obsessing over what I can't control. I need to focus on what I can do. Kaoru tightened his small fists, testing the grip. It was weak, unsteady. This body feels so fragile. Maybe it's just the after effects of all that pain, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm one wrong move away from breaking something. I need to start taking care of it, building it up. And then there's my chakra reserves. They're pitiful. If I don't work on those, my Kekkei Genkai might as well be useless. But I can't just go all out. If I suddenly start training like some ninja prodigy, my sister and grandma are going to notice. They'd probably think I've lost my mind. Well, more than I already have. He leaned back, letting his head rest against the headboard as he thought it through. So, first things first, I need a cover story. Something to explain why I'd suddenly start taking an interest in ninja training. It has to look natural, like a slow progression. Maybe I can pretend I got inspired by hearing stories or watching someone train. Yeah, this could work. And I'll need to distance myself from the other kids gradually. I will be like a black sheep compared to other kids. He chuckled, dragging a hand through his hair. And I need to figure out where in the timeline I am. If it's close to the Fourth Great Ninja War, I'm screwed. I don't know all the details, but from what I remember, that war was absolute chaos. Still, no use panicking about things I can't control. Let's focus on what I can solve. A faint smile tugged at his lips. One step at a time. Kaoru started combing through his memories, organizing everything he knew about the Naruto world that might be useful at his current level. He quickly identified 2 chakra exercises that wouldn't draw too much attention. but could make a huge difference in his development. First is the leaf concentration exercise. It's basic. Just stick a leaf to your forehead using chakra and keep it there for as long as possible. Every village teaches it to academy students. The second exercise, though, is the real game changer, the water droplet control exercise. It's perfect for me. It'll not only improve my chakra control, but also boost my reserves, enhance my water affinity, and strengthen my mastery of the Kekkei Genkai. The best part is that I can practice it at home without anyone noticing. My chakra reserves are so low right now, I won't even be able to train for long. The thought of putting his plan into action sparked a flicker of excitement in Kaoru's chest. This is it, my first step toward getting stronger. But the excitement was short-lived. He frowned, glancing at his hands again. Chakra training is one thing, but this body, it's weak. That's going to be the real challenge. From what I can tell, this kid's idea of exercise was running around with his friends. Like, what kind of clan does not train the kids in this world? If I suddenly start doing push-ups and running laps like a maniac, people are going to notice. I need to ease into it, keep it gradual, or find an excuse. And I'll need help figuring out a proper routine. Apart from basic stuff like running and squats, I've got no clue how to train effectively. He smirked as a plan was already forming in his mind. Maybe I can trick my sister into training me. She seems like the type who'd want her little brother to be capable. If I play my cards right, I might even get her to teach me some actual ninja techniques down the line. The thought of his sister brought a strange warmth to his chest. He hadn't even realized when he'd stopped thinking about Kaoru's family as his family and started claiming them as his own. My sister, huh? The words felt oddly natural, even though the speed of his acceptance was unsettling. Kaoru shook off the thought as the sunlight streaming through the window grew brighter. The day had officially begun, and it was time to meet the people who were now part of his life. All right, Kaoru, or whoever you were. No time to waste. First impressions matter. Time to meet the family and figure out where you stand in this crazy new world. Despite the uncertainty ahead, he felt a spark of anticipation. The thought of starting fresh, of carving out a new path in this strange, dangerous world, filled him with an unexpected sense of purpose. Author's note. The start might feel a bit slow, but I promise the pace will pick up. Anything that seems confusing now will be explored and explained in later chapters, including MC's personality, his chakra reserves, and his clan situation. So, brace yourself for a thrilling journey through Naruto's vast universe. P.S. I'm a newbie author, so the quality of the chapters and the story will gradually improve as I learn to write better and refine the plot, characters, and world building, all thanks to you and your support.